Welcome to the Bro Network, apparently, that we were just discussing in the pre-show that this is the Bro Network. Welcome to the Bro and Co. Bros and Co's? Bros and Co's.
Bros and Co's.
Bros and Co's. Welcome to the Amigos and Co. It's Happy MonYay / Tuesday in whichever part of the world you're in. We have the lovely Chris Vandal in the bottom. Well, I think he's on the bottom of your screen. We also have Mr. Legion all the way from Canada, Australia. And we also have Mr. Anthony Ramella from... actually, Anthony, I don't even know where you are. Where are you at?
I'm in a little place called Toledo, Ohio.
I did know that. Yes, I've asked you that before. Welcome to the show. Yeah, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Glad to be here. Glad you guys brought me on. It's an honor. I watch you guys a lot and enjoy the show, so this is going to be fun.
Feeling fairly targeted there with the very racist pictures in the back of your...
So I set up a background for this is all that Americans know about Australia. This is it right here. This is everything we know about you guys. So I was hoping to come on the show and maybe learn some new things. Now I'm a big Top Gear guy. Like I really like that show a lot. So I've learned a lot. I'm a car guy, so I learned a lot of the different car, names for parts that I don't quite understand why you call them that, but I do know quite a few of what they are. So, you got Crocodile Dundee, you got a Vegemite sandwich behind me, Men at Work for sure. Koala bear with blue eyes just because I thought it looked cool. Kangaroo Jack, you got the opera. Wait, this way. And then the Road Warrior. And if you guys in America have not seen Upper Middle Bogans, it's a great show. That's the cleavage that I'm sitting in the middle of.
Yeah. Didn't I see online the other day that Mad Max was actually, wasn't that set in 2021 or something like that?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, I haven't seen that movie since it was released in the 80s, but I'm pretty sure it was 2020 or 2021 that was actually set in the future. So that's coming next year.
It's no longer a look at the future. It's pretty much the world that we've got on our doorstep.
Yeah.
That was like Back to the Future, though, because everything was like 2015. I was like, we don't have any of this shit yet. Yeah. Like, I don't even have lace-up shoes yet, so...
Like, when you guys were in your 30s, you thought we'd have flying cars by now.
Yeah, hoverboards. Indeed, hoverboards.
The reason why we don't have flying cars is because people can't take care of the regular cars. Somebody would come into the shop and be like, hey, can you just put some duct tape on that wing so I can get it to work today? That would be the case of what would actually happen.
Wait, one sec. I just want to make sure we're absolutely clear on this. They said we'd have flying cars. We got flying cars. We have flying cars. They're available. You can buy them. You just can't fucking fly them anywhere because the government doesn't like the idea of no roads. There's no control system in the air, and people are stupid. Airplanes and air companies follow the rules, but people won't, and they know that. But yeah, the flying cars, they've been around since the 70s. They've been around for a long time. They got better. We've had good flying cars for a long time. And we'd have better if there was a market for it.
Oh, yeah.
Just want to be clear.
I would agree.
We actually ticked that off the thing. It's just that people fucked it up.
All right, fine. Everyone would have flying cars by now.
I didn't know any of that. What?
You never seen the flying cars?
When you lay down roads, I mean that dictates where you can drive, and there are signs and everything. When you get into the air, there's no control like that. There's no way to control where people go, and this is where the Department of Governments, independently, different countries that control airspace, they said from planes down to the ground, like, no, fuck it, you guys can't do that, and so they won't allow them out.
You can't tax the air, Adam. You can't tax it.
Oh, I'm sure they'll find a way.
I mean, you'll find a way. But...
Yeah.
Not yet, at least. Not yet.
I'm afraid you were flying 0.5 nautical miles under the speed limit. That will be 1,000 credits. Thank you. Yeah.
How many bitcoins is that?
That's.
You imagine, though, the teenagers when they get pissed off at some neighbor's house, just like dive bombing the roof, like you're trying to sleep.
That's the big thing that concerned me about the drones, the helicopter drones that became like readily available to everybody. That was my biggest concern about those, because I have one of those evil minds, and I'm like, God, the things you could do with that would be just absolutely catastrophic. It's like, oh yeah, any 10-year-old with $100 can go get one. I'm like, that's not really a safe kind of thing in my book, but You never know.
Well, you gotta think anything that they use, stuff like that, that you can be used for terror, that you imagine people just use it for pervy purposes instead of crashing in the houses. They just watch your neighbors sunbathe.
Yeah.
You have to find some way to create something that has a pervy application, and people will go with that one over the violent one more than 9 times out of 10.
I heard a comedian talk about that
I'm
one
not a
time.
scientist.
Because every new technology has sex with it. You know, it's like, you know, phone sex. You know, computers, pornography. You know, it's always like that's the first step that it always takes.
Well, the thing is, if it doesn't naturally take that step, and you're the inventor, you need to come up with that. Like, you come up with a great new technology that's going to save lives, and there's no sex involved.
And
this is going to fail. This is going to
Never
lose.
going to work.
You need to find some way to just jam some sex on there.
How can I
and then
fit
it
my
will
doodle
explode
in
the
there?
marketplace?
I bet
And
the guy
that's
that
why-
invented the first vacuum cleaner is probably kicking himself right now.
Oh man, yeah. The
And
auto stuff,
Legion's
3000.
absolutely right. Legion's absolutely right. Think about it. Vaping started out very now it's worldwide thanks to vape models across Instagram. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't think you can sell vape liquid unless it's in a cleavage. I think that's kind of a rule. That's how it works.
That's why I can't sell my own juice because I don't have any.
But, you know, during the lockdown, it gave all these out-of-work strippers something to do on Instagram. So at least we're giving them some jobs. You know, that, you know, we're keeping people employed, and that's important.
Yeah, I haven't
That's all that
earned.
matters.
I haven't earned a cent over COVID, so maybe I'm
I
maybe
keep
I'm not
telling
showing
you,
enough.
man, you need to get those upgrades.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
working on it.
More loot.
That's what
As long as I just, you know, go from like the beard down, then it'd probably be okay.
Yeah.
They would know what they were looking at.
Phil Berkheimer is saying they sell drone jammers now. That would be a very interesting little thing to get going on. Yeah.
We had those when I was overseas. When you go on convoys in Afghanistan, if you're on an important convoy or if you're like an infantry unit out there doing something, they give you radar jammers. And so it's a big antenna on the back of your truck you're driving around, and it blocks everything within to like 100 feet to up to like maybe about 250 feet of radius. So that's how they blocked like IEDs and stuff like that from people calling them on the road. So when you're driving on the road, they couldn't detonate them unless they were like pressure plate stuff. So there's a lot of cool technology out there, but it's definitely hitting the civilian side now.
Mhm.
But,
I'm surprised there isn't more cell phone jammer technology that's like portable and easy to use.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch that
Yeah.
you can buy. You can actually buy portable ones for your house. You just probably don't look for it, you know?
Yeah, because I take it with me to the movie
Technology's there,
theater
it's just,
anytime I went.
Very, very illegal to sell that kind of stuff because of safety and police transmissions and stuff like that. Pam is saying it's weird. Radio control airplanes need licenses and can only fly in certain areas, but drones don't need that. That's not actually true. Small, tiny drones under 250 grams, license free. Anything above that, now you need to have a license in the States, Canada, Australia. I'm not certain about Europe. And the restrictions here, even with the small ones, you're not allowed to fly over people. Like, you can fly around areas, but you're not allowed to fly over people. You're not allowed to fly in specific areas like airports, hospitals, anything like that. There's a whole list of things that you can't do, even if you don't have the licensed one. And if you're going to do something good with a licensed one, you're probably better off. This is why I don't buy them. They're fun to play with, but I'd rather hire a commercial drone pilot and get good footage, and he knows what he's doing. Then if anything fucks up, it's on him, not on me. But yeah, there are some severe restrictions on what you can do.
Mm.
Yeah,
You
here
can't
in Las
talk
Vegas-
grams. Like, you're gonna have to convert this over to English weights and measures because you know, most of us don't know
How many hamburgers is
250 grams. I mean,
6.5.
I
6.5
believe
cheeseburgers.
250 grams is 10 made-up measurements.
okay. How many
Kid
furlongs
Rock
is
CDs,
that?
Got it.
16 yard lengths.
14 Kid Rock CDs and 2 scratcher tickets from the lotto.
That's it. Four
Let's
MAGA
see.
hats.
250
Oh, God.
grams is 8.8 ounces.
Fair enough. I mean, I know that just because of other things that I've been involved with, but
8 ounces, that's like, what, $1,600? No. Anyways, what are you guys vaping on?
Vapes.
vape liquid.
Yeah, juice.
Nice. Yeah. Good job, everyone. Mr. Anthony, show us what you're vaping.
I actually am a tank guy primarily. I did pick up a gear RTA so that when my coils aren't available anymore, I do have something to use, which does have breeze tone coils in it that I got from Steel Valley Vapors. I'm not actually using that tonight, but so I've got my Vupu Alpha 1 or my Vapu Alpha 1, depending on how you say that. This is my beat up one that I use all the time with a Falcon King on top. And that actually, I've gotten into the DIY thing. Like, I kind of jumped in with both feet. So I've been trying that. Made a lot of really nice trash can vape liquid. Been pouring out some stuff that's just absolutely awful, but a couple of the flavors that I really like, and that's what I'm vaping on tonight. So I've got this one here. This is a maple graham cracker peanut butter flavor that I like.
Hello.
I'm really into the sweet stuff, so that's kind of my thing. And then the other one is I'm working on this strawberry marshmallow flavor. It's kind of like a Frankenberry or like a cereal marshmallow flavor. So I'm still working on this one, still trying to get it right. That getting the right mix of marshmallow is tough because either you wash out the other flavor or you don't taste it at all. But it's getting close. It's getting really close. And then the other vape I have is the Zenith 3. I love this mod. Like, I never thought I would. It's voltage only. It's got this big dial on the front that changes things, 2700. But I am rough on vapes, and not because I drop them, but the acids in my skin eat through the coatings really bad. So, like, I have a drag that I've never dropped, and it looks like I've drug it behind a car. Like, it's just eating through really bad.
A drug.
And this just, yeah. And this has just the original Falcon on top. I did have to switch out the drip tip because I actually broke the old one couple days ago, but that's it for me. A short buffet tonight. Nice. Hey, Legion, what are you vaping on?
I have a couple of really boring things that I've been vaping for the last week or so, just because they're easy, they're lightweight, they're dead simple. The Hita Ink, still rocking this, still love it. Still have that issue where the magnet is really good and the cavity that the pod sits in is so good that I cannot ever get that out of there. I have to use a tool to remove it to fill it.
Wow.
It's a bit of a bitch, but I still like it. I still like using it. The vape is really nice. So, I'm at home. I'm not on the road. If I was traveling, I think I'd leave this at home just because of that. But otherwise, it's a nice device. And I've got, what have I got in there? This stuff. Punch. Whoop, let's go that way. Homeboy Mango. Punch. I have a non-focusing camera now, so I have to figure out exactly where the focus distance is. This thing should be about here. The Inikin Chroma Z, nice little boost style handheld potty type system. Not bad. It's I think it's this last show I was on. It's more towards the mouth to lung restricted direct lung than it is the other side of things, which is nice because the battery lasts long and the vape is a little bit milder. I really enjoy that. This is Caramel Latte from Yorkshire Barista. And lastly, but not leastly, pulled the college out of retirement to review this weird looking thing. And yeah, gold and black, and that gold, it's not a good look. I wish they'd sent me a black one. This is the Scale RTA from AI Vape. It's a really weird little tank. I've had this sitting on the desk and I've used it on and off for a couple of weeks. Finally reviewed it this morning. Actually did a live review, just wung it. Just got the camera up and said, okay, screw it, I'm just going live. And I did a build on it. So it's not a breeze tones because it will not take mouth lung breeze tones coils. They're just too big. I had to put a 10 wrap Kanthal 24 gauge 2.5 in there, just a tiny little thing. And the interesting thing about this is, okay, it's got weird airflow. It's side and bottom independently controlled. I don't mind that. It works the way it works. But this top section is like an RDA. If I pull it off now, here, I'll show you. If I unscrew it, get it off there, grab a cloth just in case. And if I grab it and just give it a pull.
Not over the keyboard, bro.
Right over the keyboard. There you go. There's your deck. And there's your tank. And it just pops in, and there's a notch, locks it in place. No screwing or anything, just plops down, held in by O-rings. I wasn't that worried about it. Thought it was interesting and unique and different until I reviewed it live, and everyone is like, if you drop that, is it going to come off? I'm like, I'm shaking it around and I'm knocking over on the desk. I'm like, yeah, probably. Be honest with you, probably. If you drop this, the top of it's going to go flying. But
so is it magnetic?
No, just held in my Just plops on like an RDA. It builds like an RDA. That's the thing I was impressed by, is that even though it's a single coil and there's not a lot of room in there, you slap that coil in, screw it down, pull some wick through, push it down a little bit. There's 2 feeding nozzles that come from the top, and they just sit in the wick, and that's pretty much it. I mean, you don't have to finesse your wick. You don't have to do anything fancy. You just throw it in, slap the top on, and you're good to go. Anyway, with all that said, this is the final one, and this is Three Sisters spiced donut snuff stuff. I killed that bottle off in here.
Nice. This is your first live build. How did that all go under live conditions?
Not too bad. It was fairly simple, straightforward build. It's fast and easy to build on that thing. I pre-made my coil. It's just a simple wrap coil, so I pre-made that.
Mm-hmm.
But I did that thing where I scheduled, I put up my social media stuff, and I went to bed, and I got up in the morning, said, okay, I got up an hour to the thing. Let's get some wire. And I start looking around, and it's like, okay, so I got some nichrome. Shit. That's way too low. Do the calculations. Okay, no, not nichrome. Okay, I got some stainless, 26. Oh, shit. Well, that's going to be way too low. I got some Canthol 22. Fuck no. Got some Canthol 20. Where the fuck did my Canthol 26 go? None. I swear, there's like 4 reels of it around here. Cannot find it anywhere. Ended up using the 24 just because. What else did I have? But yeah, it's not a bad vape.
Nice.
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah, Chris.
It's crust. Thank you very much. I got the Caliburn going. This is for pods. I know a lot of people are anti-pods, but I gotta tell you, man, I'm getting hooked. Oh, and then I got Anarchist Purple. It's a great bubblegum. I know people hate on pods. Anthony, no. But man, this thing has got me like thinking that I need higher nick, and I don't know if that's good or bad because man, when I go back to the Aegis, which I also got right now with some mango in it, it's just not enough, man. So I think I'm gonna be one of those cool jewel bros now, man. I'm gonna start posting videos of me doing jewels out of a watermelon or something, you know. Sorry guys, I gotta switch over. I've done sold out. You know what it is. No, but anyways, I just want to say this thing's been kicking ass. I had that the Narada before from can't remember who. Anyways, and it
I remember you loved that device. You were just so
I loved it so much.
Appreciative of it.
And so I love it so much I sold it to my roommate. But for $5.
So he's got the dirty car seat Aegis too, because he was talking about the leather just getting like
so
crusty like a passenger side seat.
Me being a sweaty guy all the time, you know, I did get this. I didn't, you know, when I go and buy mods, usually I'm just like, oh, choose a colorway ish that seems kind of reliable that I'd like, and that's it. I don't really like open it up or look at it. So I was like, oh, give me something with the soft end inside. But yeah, so the worst part is Anthony's absolutely right. I think I talked about this on Friday. But like, I'm a sweaty guy. You guys know this. I got made fun of when I used to do local videos for wearing gloves because I'm so sweaty. You just see it when I did unboxings. Anyways, this thing right here is like a suede car seat. So when I touch it, it gets all gross. You see that line? That's like from my finger line. Anyways, just to gross you guys out.
But the good thing is it's an Aegis. You can take that little silver part off, and you can replace the inside with anything you want.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, you know,
sheet of sandpaper will do.
I'm thinking like a sanitary towel would probably be best.
Some wet wipes from a Buffalo Wild Wings, you know.
What's that cloth? What's that? ShamWow. Put ShamWow in there.
Yeah. I'll do that because that's how I use to clean my glasses, and I'll just like be rubbing my sweat on my glasses, looking like I was walking through Walmart for 20 minutes, you know. So, but yeah, that's all I got, Adam. It's down to you. And before you get going, I want to throw this out there because I know it's gonna bug you. Drove by Vapor in the chat says, "Oh yeah, I haven't changed my continent coils, and these Bridgestone Alien 26 gauge are amazing. Almost 3 weeks now."
3 weeks. Come on, man. Come on, brah.
How hard is it to change cotton? Like,
you don't have to if it vapes good.
If it vapes good, that's right.
Almost a year.
Yeah. No, it's totally cool, and I appreciate the kind words. Thank you. So I've got the Aegis ShamWow with no, I'm not vaping that. I haven't got anything.
My chamois in a bag. Okay.
Yeah. Was
Billy
that real?
Blanks edition.
Was that real ShamWow?
No, it's not a ShamWow. It's from my camera and my, I got a Mac, so it's the whole screen.
Yeah.
So I put it in here because before I get drunk on the shows on like the Fridays, and I'll have like weed ash or something over here, and I just grab it and I wipe it, and then I try to wipe my camera and my screen. So now I know like drunk me is like, don't touch this, dumbass. Sorry, but Adam, what were you vaping on?
I don't have anything new, but I do have a little ether on the Swag 2, little mouth to lung banger. That one in there has the PB Party from Eric Vinyl and Vapor, which is always hanging around. I've actually never run the Blotto on the Odin or either of the Odins, so I decided to put it on the Odin Mini with the smaller glass that's got Prohibition syntax in it. Also have the 1Gin R DNA 75C with the K-Fun mouth to face hole as per usual. But I'm also running a Passage. I haven't had a Passage set up in a little while on the Heavy Hitter. That one's going really well, and I'm probably going to smash the last of the collaboration e-liquid for advocacy here in Australia. That is a caramel sugar cookie, which is really delicious, and I'm going to smash the last of it, hopefully, before the end of the show. But I also have the other Odin 250C Palmatones Build Station Edition with the Juggernaut V2 on there. But that one is also running Prohibition syntax because I have no liquid and I'm boring, so I need to get some liquid. So I'm looking for a sponsor. Anyone? No, I'm kidding. No, need to buy myself some e-liquid.
Wait, so you're out of liquid completely?
This is the hobbyist struggle, right? You know, I'm just out of shot up there. I have, I have the e-liquid, but it's
the
not
stuff you don't want to vape.
I just don't want to vape.
There's no way that like without anyone here would go without something that you could vape. You just don't want to.
Yeah.
You know. I think that's how it usually goes with most vapors. You know, like when you do this stuff. I guess I can call myself a vapor. Been doing it for like what 2, 3, 4 years now. So you always have stuff sitting around that you just don't want to touch.
Yep. You know, I keep that, and this is the other thing, because if Armageddon happens here in Australian vaping, then I want to have, like, I don't even care what, it could be socks, I'll vape it, something. So those ones are just going to sit there until they freeze over. But yeah, literally there is probably 20, opened bottles of e-liquid up there that I've tested and gone, I'll just put that back on the shelf. And I literally vape 3 or 4 bottles at the front. They stay at the front. They're always the ones I grab. So it's like,
you're not refreshing the stock.
No.
So I got a question then that we can all answer. You don't have to give the name because I understand some of us do reviews and stuff. But what's the flavor profile of the one juice that you have waiting on your shelf? That's your last ditch. That like when this is over and this is all I got left, that's the only time I'll touch it. You don't have to name it if you don't want to, but the flavor profile, what would it be on your shelf?
Yeah, I've got the answer if you guys are still thinking. Straight up, it's a blue raz. Like, just, that's all it is. It's blue raz. It may be one flavor concentrate of blue raspberry in there, and it's it gives me instant headache. But I'm still keeping on to the bottle just in case.
Anything with menthol, anything with tobacco, except for my snuff, which I weirdly like. But yeah, those always go to the back, and they just same thing. Can't throw them away. Might give them away, but they just sit there for like the end of days. Like, okay, fine, the world is burning and everyone's dead. I'll vape this fucking shit now. But other than that, they just stay at the back. I never touch them.
What about you, Anthony?
Vandal, that's a tough question. I used to test liquid, and I was a buyer for a chain of stores. So I've got hundreds of bottles of e-liquid here. So to say that there's like one plain, like there's just so many. Like, orange to me is probably really close to the end of that list, because I just have never found anybody that actually made a true orange flavor that tasted good, which was always surprising to me in the vape world, because everything else in life is flavored orange. And for some reason, there's just not. I've had the orange dreamsicles, the orange juices, all of this stuff, and it never tastes right. There's always just this off. Even if it tastes like candy orange, I'd be good with that. It just never does. It always just tastes awful. It's almost like too much orange zest. You're getting more rind than you are actual orange. So now I hate menthol, and I do have a ton of menthol, but so that's a close call. I would say between those two for sure. What about you, Vandal?
Me personally, I'd say tea flavors. I have a couple, and a couple that we've had on the show or people I've seen on shows say that they love. I don't care what I've tried many different brands, and every tea flavor to me is just fucking gross. Like, I get it, people like it, so I'm not hating on it. Like, if it works for you, that's great. But for me, every time I hit a tea flavor, it's like trying to suck like tangy juice through like a pillow. Like, that's what I imagine. And like, I don't know, maybe I'm just weird. I love tea though, like Arizona iced tea cans. I used to like when I was growing up, you know, when I was in my teens and stuff, all the time. I still get like jugs of tea here and there, but any tea flavor, I just can't stand.
Is it the black tea component? Are you talking about actual black tea?
No, and I've tried light teas. It's not light tea. I've tried black tea ones. I've tried light tea ones. Like I've tried cold turds. I didn't like it at all. I've tried there's a brand called Snaps when I was still working at Local Vape. They had a tea that was a lemon tea, and I like lemon tea. I like lemon tea and all that stuff too in real life. But man, when I vaped it, it just dried me out and like just made me feel gross. Like it made my mouth feel like, you know, like when you guys hear a dog licking its feet or something. You know, that's what it made my mouth feel like. If that, I know that doesn't make sense, but it makes sense to me.
The funniest thing though is like the worst vape liquid is still better than the best cigarette I've had.
100%.
I'm not. Yeah, I just anytime that flavor's around, I'm just like, God, no. And I really don't like tobaccos. Like I don't think I've ever actually vaped like a full tank of a tobacco flavor since I've been vaping.
No.
Tobacco would be a close second for me. Tobacco is just like I understand like if people want it, you like it, you know, like I sound like I'm attacking people when I say this stuff, but it's fucking gross too. Tobacco is fucking nasty as well. I don't know.
I'm with Adam though. I mean, there's that Armageddon shelf that you just can't throw it away.
I'll show you guys.
Like I don't care how old this stuff is. It's like if Armageddon comes, I want to have this backlog.
Yeah, because it's got nicotine in it. So if it's been nicked, it's got to stay on the shelf.
Because that's exactly what Advocate for Liberty was saying. He's like, I used to test, and I've got Armageddon liquid.
Oh, Armageddon stock. That's only one part. I don't know if I can get a light on it. Let me grab my phone.
I need to send you guys my address. I'll put it in chat.
What I was thinking about is if you sent me your address, I'd bottle some of this other stuff and call it coffee flavoring or something and send it over to you. I'd be like, okay, this is what this is. This is what this is.
Yeah, right. Awesome. You can send. We're still our borders are still. Just talking about that. You can send e-liquid is no problems. It's very, very rare that things get stopped.
When you're filling out the old custom form, you got to be a little creative sometimes.
Yeah.
Usually, if you put like intimate lube or something on there, usually they don't touch those boxes. They're
dietary supplement. That's how I've received that a few times.
Essential oils works very well too.
Yeah, essential oils.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we have a lot of giveaways.
Vandal, what would it cost to actually send something to them? What do you think?
So usually, I'm very familiar with shipping stuff to Australia with this channel.
Okay.
If you're gonna send a couple of bottles worth of stuff, and I'm talking like 120 mils, it's going to be about $40.
Oh, that's not so bad. I was thinking it was going to be like 100.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's only if you want to ship like a mod.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the chat, Prime Variety says it. You can I'm not alluding to any like places, but like a massage oil. You call it essential oils, or if you're sending mod parts or anything like that, you call it a flashlight. And it was funny because I was giving away one of the anarchist mods we had on here on one of the shows. And I went to, I go to Local Vape, I pick up my stuff and ship from there. But I didn't want to go all the way because they're on the other side, almost the other side of town for me now. So I went to a UPS store and made the mistake and I got ripped off. But anyways, I go in there and then, it's just two mods, all the anarchist mods. So they're just metal with the spring and the button. That's it. So I go in there and the guy's like, oh, you got a vape shirt on. You're trying to ship any of the vape stuff. Right? I was like, nah, man, it's a free t-shirt. I said, oh, okay. So I put the mods up there. And he's like, oh, what is this? I was like, oh, they're flashlights. He's like, really? I was like, yeah, you ever heard of like build your own flashlights, man? It's the coolest thing ever, blah, blah, blah. Like you put your battery power source in here and you can change out if it's a laser tip or a light tip, that's where you put your RDA. He's like, oh my God, that's so cool. I'm gonna look it up. I'm like, yeah, dude, go on Amazon. It's all there. I never went back to that UPS store again.
Wow.
The funniest part is that if you actually search for it, you can find flashlight tips with 510 connections.
Crazy.
You can totally do that.
Getting back to the tobacco thing, there's a lot of people that enjoy tobacco vapes, and certainly not pointing the finger of accusation, but another tobacco product I buy, artisan soaps to shave with, and there's one particular one that had, notes of tobacco in it, and I was like, because there's another one that I really like that has tobacco in it, but it's sitting so low in the composition of the mix, it's it's barely there. This one that I bought, this new one, the tobacco is like identical to the pouch tobacco that I used to roll with that I gave up, for vaping. And I opened this like container. It's beautiful soap, but the overwhelming rolly pouch tobacco smell of it is hard to get over. It's kind of like going back to your ex or something. It's a heavy thing.
This show's a little too posh for me, man. You guys deal artisan soaps and whatnot. Like, I got a bar of like Irish Spring in there. Like, that's about as artisan as I get.
There's a company that makes beard oils that I use, and I really like their line. And one of the new scents they came out with recently, like 2 years ago, recently, because I'm old. It's called Four Sins, and it's, if I remember correctly, it's coffee, tobacco, bourbon, and old money. I'm like, and I'm looking at that going, smell, do I really want that smell? Like I just kind of smell like an out of work banker, like a banker who's down on
wallet sweat.
Like,
yeah. It's like
paper notes. You mean? Is that where the
I don't know. It's old money. What does old money?
You guys
smell
know
like?
that old money has like that small.
Doesn't old money just smell like ball sweat? Like.
Well, that if you're hanging out at male strip clubs, sure, but like. Yeah. Also, I have a question.
We're not getting back on that conversation again.
Yeah.
That's a Friday Fallout conversation.
Yeah. But I do have a question since I'm fucking a dumbass. I wasn't paying attention. I just put salt nick in my take. How bad is this gonna fuck me up?
Pretty bad.
It's gonna be rough. Yeah, it's awful.
It was maybe about that much of a layer.
What's strength?
50.
Depending on how much you put in there, I would be careful because you may pass out.
I would say about where the top of the bottle like fold is. We'll find out. You're in control of the Zoom. Just kick me out if I pass out.
I just have to blank
don't adjust
the
your screen. He's actually really that green.
Yeah, that is blood coming out of your nostrils. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't figure out my lighting tonight. I look like I have jaundice. Sorry, guys. Donate to my GoFundMe.
Since we're talking about vaping, I do have a question since I've got some guys on here that actually have some experience. I'm honestly going to have to go away from, pre-made coils. And I was an auto mechanic for years, and I just got to the point where I just didn't want to build anything. So that's kind of what's stuck me in this groove. But I know that I'm going to have to move on. I got this Gear RTA, and it's okay. But what I'm really looking for is a single coil, direct lung that has an 810 drip tip. I would prefer an RTA so that I can fill it like I normally would with the tank that I have, but I would consider an RDA. My issues with RDAs have really been the dual coils for me are just too hot. And I spend half the time getting hot liquid in my mouth. And I've tried it so many times that I'm just like, I'm done with it. Like if I've got the RTA for vaping, I've got a couple other ones. I had a dead rabbit. I went down that road to try and do that, but I've just had unbelievably bad success with it. So that's the scope of what I'm looking for. I mean, the gear is close, but I hate 510 drip tips. Mm-hmm. I got big lips and I need a bigger drip tip. I mean, that's just the truth. I need a bigger thing in my mouth than that little 510.
Don't get fully stuck on the 810 drip tip thing. If you find the right tank that works for you that has a 510, you can get fatter drip tips. They're 510 in the connection, but fatter in your lips.
Jess makes one.
Yeah, so aftermarket, a drip tip may adjust the thing to be more suitable. The drip tip's not the killer part, but you want an RTA, right? Not an RDA. And single coil. And direct lung, so fairly airy, wide open. I
hate mouth to lung. I was a cigar smoker, so mouth to lung just is painful for me. Like I just don't like that tight draw.
There's a few good ones in the chat there by the chat folks. Absolutely. I was going to say there, the Destiny or the Kylan M. I'm sure there's some other. There you go, Dennis Michael with the Peacemaker RTA. The Druga, that new Druga, I think that's single coil as well, isn't it? Oh no, that's dual coil. But the other thing is, Anthony, that there's a lot of things about getting back to dual coil. You don't have to run them hot. Like that. That's the other situation, is that just because you're putting in a lowish build, you can get into that situation of well, it's a 0.11 and I've got to rock this at 100 watts. You don't. When I first started building, I used I don't have it anymore because it died, but it was actually the Kylan Mini, a single coil situation with a 0.14 build, basically just an alien, a chunky alien, and you don't have to run them crazy hot. I mean, if you want to go that kind of 40 to 60 watts even, you can be in that and get that cool to medium vape. So the reality of the coil is, yes, it's got to be installed properly and all the other parts, but you also
what am I doing wrong on these dual coils that I'm constantly getting liquid in my mouth? Is this just something you guys deal with all the time, or am I an oddity?
Oh, all the time I do. I squonk, and like when I had my squonk device all the time because I over squonk. And then, so like with stuff like that, if you're not squonking, maybe you're over dripping it, maybe too much. That, or maybe you're not having enough cotton content. I know that you guys have a lot better experience than me, but I've noticed that when I don't have enough cotton, I have a lot more juice that's ready to flap around with like hop in my mouth.
Because I chain vape, and that seems to be the biggest issue. Like I don't give enough cool down time in between vapes, and then it just gets hotter and hotter and hotter to the point I'm just like, I can't stand this.
A tighter wicking might be part of that. Sometimes, I'm not sure if this is your issue, but sometimes not running your coil at an optimum wattage, a little under, because what's happening is it's heating up and it's boiling the juice, which makes it splatter instead of instantly vaporizing the juice. So that's, if it's hot but not hot enough, that might be it. And maybe a couple of watts higher may actually take care of that. I fixed that issue a few times. Sometimes it's literally just height of the coils, like bring them down a little bit or a little out towards the airflow so that it becomes more airy and less just hot bubbly splatter. But in terms of what you're asking for, I think, and I'm so glad that this is the answer because I think I found the answer for you. Steam Crave. Steam Crave is your answer.
Crave?
Steam Crave. And I'm not going to, not any specific one, just go look at what they've got, figure out what works. You can get extra decks for them. So when if you buy the big package, it's got them all in there. And if you buy the small one, you can buy them as add-ons. But you can get a single coil deck. You can get a dual coil postless deck. You can get a dual coil velocity style old school deck. You can get a mesh deck, and it's pretty much across the board for all their tanks. So you've got that variety. You can throw in the single coil, and if you feel like playing with duals, you can rip it out, use the same tank. They're nice, they're big, they're beefy. They have a nice industrial finish, a nice industrial look. They've got nice, big, meaty-sized drip tips. I love their drip tips.
I think
Great. Thank you very much.
The other thing to remember is, again, like just using your example, you've done it a couple times, and then you go back to stuff that you're comfortable with. There's that whole situation as well. Like if let's just say you're forced to do this, you're forced to go into rebuildables and that whole situation in a very short amount of time, you just actually doing the action of it, will teach you better technique in your wicking or coil placement, how high that's going to be. Same again with the wattage, because when I started out, I was quite, low in the watt. And as I was, becoming more comfortable with it, I could start to push it up a bit more and I was vaporizing more. That whole situation of think about it, if you did it for 10 times in a row, they're going to get better and better and better. And that whole situation of finding where you want to be with the kind of vape that you'll get just comes with a little bit of experience, and it doesn't take that long, I guess. The tank that I bought in particular was a recommendation because the reviewer said, if you can build this tank, you can build anything. So it was like, okay, I'm actually going to force myself to build this tank because if I can get this to wick and perform well, I was throwing myself in the deep end, but literally, the third go of me re-wicking, and I was like, I found it. Awesome. Now I know what to do. So it's you're stepping off the edge because you're uncomfortable effectively, or sorry, that's the wrong word to use, but just a little bit of the unknown. But in the same vein, it's very quick to learn the experience of it. So just put yourself in that place and get her done.
A couple of small questions along with that too, like, is the brand of the cotton that you use like the most important thing? Is that making these huge differences?
That is a massive debate.
Let's fight.
Okay. Well, no, I mean, I'm sure it's like anything else. Like you find the one that works well for you, but should that be my next step? Is that, part of the reason why I'm getting the spitting back is because the cotton I'm using is, inferior to, a cotton bacon or one of these other, higher end brands. Like I've used everything from like cellulose to cotton bacon to any brand that, the cotton brands, like the little shoestring looking thing. I've tried all the different ones and I keep running across the same issue.
I think that the quality and build of the tank, the quality and passion into the coils, the thickness of the e-liquid, all three of those things would be way more impactful than the brand of cotton you use. I mean, if you got good cotton, it'll do the job. Yeah, you can fiddle with it, you can finesse with it, you can do all sorts of stuff, but if you don't have those other things in place first, it's not going to make as much difference as you think. It's more like a fine-tuning thing at the end.
And I'm sure there's a reason why you're not supposed to do this, but I'm going to ask this question anyway. What is the big deal of running a dual coil RTA as a single coil? Is there an issue with that, or I've been nervous about that because it's like I don't want something to get shorted and have a battery issue or something like that. And I've always been nervous about actually trying that because obviously you only get one shot of blowing your face off. So I don't want to short out a battery.
That's not going to happen. I mean, if it fires up, if you can pre-fire your coil and get it nice and even, then you're good. That problem's taken care of. It's not going to blow up or anything in your face. The real issue with dual coils, like running a single coil and a dual coil deck, is just the design of it. It's designed for a certain amount of airflow. It's designed for a certain amount of capacity, like what's filling that space.
Sure.
And if let's put it this way, you have like a cavity like this, and you have two coils in there. There's only a certain amount of space around it, and the air is directly hitting those individual coils on the side. When you swap that out and you put one in the middle, you have all that space on either side, just open and airy space, which is diffusing your vape. It's making it less dense. It's making it less full. It also allows the air to kind of do some weird stuff and swish around before it hits the coils, to make it more turbulent. It comes out being a little less satisfying, a little bit less flavorful. It's just basically the design of it not fitting well with that. You can, with some devices, go that way. I mean, absolutely, it's designed for 2, 3s, but you could put in a 4, that would be fine because you're filling more space. But if it's a big, wide open deck, lots of space in there, and it's ideally meant to be built so that your coils are like right up to the airflow, because you want in my opinion, but you want your coils to be as close to that wall as that airflow as possible. You want the air to come in and hit the coil right away, and then it does all its stuff and go to your mouth. You don't want it to come in and go, well, where am I supposed to go? Do I go this way? Do I go that way? The air gets confused. It gets lost. It can't find its way to the coil. Being silly, but you get what I'm saying.
Right. But it's probably taking the path of least resistance, and that might not be the way you want it to go.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. If you've got a hole here and the air comes in and your coil's way over here and you've got a drip tip up there that's sucking, pulling, the air's just going to go right up. Most of it goes straight up. Doesn't even hit that coil. That's going to be pretty nasty vape.
I was excited about that design you were talking about last week about the coil in the middle and just pumping the cotton around the outside and rocking and rolling. To me, that sounds like the perfect setup. Like that is exactly how I vape. Yeah. That to me just sounds wonderful. I wish there was something out there that would work that way. Because I haven't tried it yet, but I've also considered going with like a profile with the mesh and trying it that way, since a lot of my pre-built coils are mesh.
I would say don't do that.
Wow, that was like probably not. Which is great.
Yeah, potentially not. Only because they're not the same makeup and vibe of your pre-built coils. That is a whole nother ball game. But in the same vein, I want to go back to the cotton situation. I firmly believe that cotton plays a big part in the situation of your builds, only because of there's a bunch of things. But in the same vein, cottons are not equal. So they may be from a budget point of view, and again, not pointing the finger, but if you can afford to buy something that is a bit, let's call it more successful, then absolutely they will they will, perform the way you want them to, and also the changes you make will be, far greater because of the capillary action, or how absorbent they are, or how much they retain, heat protection, or a whole bunch of things. But there's so much to be said about internal chambers, single coil, dual coil, the cotton you run, how you're going to do that, how like your actual vaping style. Are you ripping that thing like a mofo, or are you just taking little toots off it? It's the compression, the chamber size, wattage, cotton, liquid. Like all of those things will play a part. But going back to that original situation of doing it a few times in a row, you will very quickly learn that small changes mean compound into a bigger thing. So finding the sweet spot, so to speak. And you're surrounded by plenty of, like, all these people in chat of all got lots of things going on, and all of the people Anthony, that you will find that happy spot, that happy medium. And there's always that case of when you finally just get into building, and you've been doing it for a couple of weeks, and you're like, why was I worried? Because it's so easy to get that experience, and that experience
and
again.
Not to promote a company, but what artisan cotton company do you use?
I'm a cotton bacon.
That was supposed to be funny, and nobody laughed.
Cotton bacon for me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I just interject for a moment? Can we all do a welfare check on Chris Vandal? He's
Sorry, I was muted, and then I didn't realize I had to go and take a Vandal break. I had to go potty.
You're looking a little green. Your forehead's a little.
It's my lighting. So every week I have it set up normally, right? I usually do this and I get it set up ready to go. But I was sitting here, and so I got my gaming stuff set up next to it, and so my lighting's all fucked up because I haven't like gone live with me on gaming yet. But I moved my lights, and then the light's different. But yeah, I look like you have jaundice, so make sure you don't.
Well, we've seen people on live like vape too much nicotine, and you get a little.
That's what you're talking about. My bad. I am a little woozy brain. You're absolutely right. I was talking to Drip by Vapor in the chat. So if you're late to the show, I accidentally put in 50 milligram of Anarchist Purple in my tank. And oh my God, you guys, I'm so chill right now.
I sent Grim some liquid one time for his some pot or something he was using, and he put 12 milligram in a dripper, like right on the episode. And by the end of it, he was just like, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to start writing the numbers on the bottom. So when you flip it over, it's like, oh, nope, that's 12. Let's not do that again. So I get nervous anytime I see somebody do that, especially 50 salt Nick. That's powerful stuff.
I'm enjoying it so far. Let's be honest.
I'm sure you are.
Just remember, it's
to the point where you start throwing up.
Yeah.
I have a lot of high anxiety and stuff like that, and for some reason, this just be hitting good. No.
Just remember, it takes a few minutes to come on.
Start throwing up.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could. Some of the things, if I haven't thrown up from a Friday Fallout, I'll throw up from this.
He's got me draining on that too.
We've got a legend in chat, and he says, "Great Wombetsky, Muji pads, because hashtag broke mofo." Which I will lean at and just go, yeah, they're always there. They're always there.
Cotton after that, though. Yeah, I did have I do if I use cotton, it's gonna be Anarchist cotton. It's the only one I prefer. The other stuff, just for my personal opinion, like the cotton bacon and all that stuff, I hate it, man. I've tried it. It just seems like you get your shoestrings wet. And I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but I mean, like, when I get cotton bacon wet, it feels like, to me, it just gets so condensed. So if I choose cotton, like in my fucking dang with the breeze tones in it that I've had in there for like a year, I use Anarchist cotton because that cotton seems a lot more fibrous, a lot more thicker. Seems more natural. And I don't know that for sure, you know what I mean? Like the process of it. But I do like that over every other cotton. And I've tried other cottons, and like I got free shit all the time. Like I got a whole drawer full of free cotton that I got working in the industry.
Well, thanks for clearing up this cotton debate, guys. I feel a lot better.
Yeah, asking about cotton is like talking about religion or politics.
I didn't know that. I really didn't know that. I wasn't trying to pull something. I was really just curious because I mean I've tried different ones.
There
are
like, so many.
All
things.
three of these guys probably use the same thing because it's the best, and it's like nope.
It's weird. There's so many things you bring out flavors, and everyone's I got my own, but it's just mine. It's just my opinion. We're all good about it. Airflow. Everyone's got their own feeling, what they like. You come to cotton, it's like it's war. You're wrong.
Well, yeah,
you're absolutely
Adam
wrong.
It must be like 3 peanut butter flavors tonight, so I'm gonna have to trust him on some of this because I'm a peanut butter fan for sure.
Hit me up later, bro. Yeah.
I I mixed up this flavor that's a caramel peanut butter flavor, and I named it Sticky Nuts, and it's fantastic. And it's weird because when you're mixing flavors, there are things you put in that you would never think that would be in that mix that would bring out those flavors so well. Like what finally made it for that flavor was toffee. Like I never thought about putting toffee in there, and I put not very much, like a half a mil or a half a mil in like a 60 ml bottle. But that made all the difference. It just turned that flavor and gave it the flavors I wanted it to be. So strange.
Just raising that caramel up a little bit.
Yeah. And it almost brought the sweetness to the peanut butter that made it peanut butter and not those dry roasted peanuts. Like that's the issue that I have with the deep cuts, is that it's more just like to me, it's more like a roasted peanut flavor than it's peanut butter. Like I expect more sugar in my peanut butter. And it's more, to me, it's just like straight peanuts. Like when I get that flavor, I put sweetener in it because that's the only way I can vape it.
I find the whole flavoring thing really fascinating because there's real world and then there's what happens in our head.
Yeah.
And they're very, very different. And a lot of flavorings that we have in artificial flavorings of food have nothing to do with the source that we think they do. It's just that our brain associates certain things with that flavor. But in the real world, we go beyond that. There's texture and there's temperature and there's all these things that tie in. So for me, peanut butter e-liquid will never taste like peanut butter because it doesn't stick to my teeth. I know that sounds weird, but
familiarization.
The texture of peanut butter is part of the flavor of peanut butter in my fucked up mental makeup.
Yeah, that's why I can't find a Fruit Loops flavor that I like. There's something about that texture that I can't get. I love Fruity Pebbles. I cannot find a vape liquid that I feel like even comes close to that.
Anything that is like a soft serve ice cream, I may enjoy the flavor. It may taste like melted soft serve. It's being spooned up out of a bowl, but it doesn't taste like a soft serve ice cream because it's not cold, it's not creamy, it's not smooth. You get one of those ice creams that have the little ridges on them on a hot day, and you walk out and you have that 20 seconds where it's still nice, but the edges start going milky. It's a whole sensory situation, and it just doesn't pass in a hot e-liquid. So it's just really, really weird how our minds, and this is the bigger part, is that the next person over may have the same liquid and go, this is spot on. This is perfect because they don't have the mental connections with the flavor that I do. So this is why I think this is why everyone who's been vaping for a while is very, very tolerant. Like you like what you like, because we all know it's a bit of hit or miss the way our heads work.
That Syntax though is the bomb. That is some of the best peanut butter liquid I've ever had.
Yeah. There's just drawing on coffee as well. There was a huge disconnect between people describing, volatile aromatics or sensory experience and understanding, when someone says sweet, that everyone is across the board, or understanding acidity and everyone, is across the board in that language. And I'll find it before the show ends, but there is very, very, very smart people, some of the best tasters in the world have put out a lexicon. This was quite a few years ago, and I share this with a few people because just because it's coffee or comes from a coffee industry, it doesn't mean that it can't equate to other things. But when we say peanuts, if it's listed in there, it will give you the degrees of like exactly what Anthony said. Is it roasty? Is it fresh? Is it got skins on? Is it still in the shell? Is it salted? Is it, like all of those situations? So understanding how to describe, peanuts or blueberry jam or, what is an apricot or, like those kind of things. So then understanding on that language of volatile aromatics, it's a really, really great reference point because you can actually make the flavors to taste. They give you a spec sheet of if you, let's go back to, blueberry jam. How would we make up blueberry jam so we're all across the board in different parts of the world? So they give you a recipe. It's this much jam, it's this much water, it's this, these grams, all this sort of stuff. And, I will find it because it's really interesting reading for people, if they, particularly the DIYers, and adding flavors to create something else. Exactly what you were saying before. So, yeah, I'm going to find it.
I like Jake's comment there. Captain Crunch. If it doesn't destroy the roof of your mouth, it won't Captain Crunch. Yeah, Captain Crunch is I was huge on that. And I was the guy who came home from school and sat on the couch watching TV with a box, just eating it raw. So you imagine the condition of the top of my mouth every afternoon. That stuff is like, It's like addictive, crack-infused, sugar-coated glass. It's the most beautiful torture cereal ever made.
That's how I feel about Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Like if I'm not supposed to eat the whole box, and I'm not buying it. Like it's going down that way. Like there's no way.
I love cereals that you don't need a bowl or a spoon or milk. You just sit there and just dig into the box. Just pound it down.
My mouth can't take that shit anymore, though, man. That's after years of doing that as a kid, man. Even those first couple ones, I'm like, this is gonna hurt later. Like I don't want to do that again.
There we are. I've put it in chat. It's World Coffee Research, the lexicon. There's two parts to it. One, there is a flavor wheel. I'm sure everyone has seen what a flavor wheel looks like before, but the downloadable 70-page PDF there is the exciting part, because that's one you just print off and leave in your area. And it's just an A to Z of very, very common flavors. That is how, I guess, where is it? Great Rombatsky molecular chemistry time. Yeah, absolutely. But it is real world language for people to, discuss and be on the same page as certain flavors. So it's really, really interesting to read, because there'll be flavors.
Is it bad that I kind of want that poster?
The coffee wheel?
Yeah, I kind of want that.
Every industry, they have one for honey, chocolate, oil, nuts, like all sorts of stuff. But also the basic premise of those wheels are, if anyone has not seen one of those before, you start from the inside. Let's just say it's fruit. You go, this thing tastes like fruit to me. I think it tastes like citrus. I'm not sure. So then you start from the start and you work your way out, so that basically you start from citrus and define it's lime, as opposed to like any citrus could be, lime, mandarin, tangerine, orange, tangelo, grapefruit, like all of those situations in a citrus, genre, but pinpointing. That's how wheels work.
Well, you brought up a couple of good points with that too. Number one being that when I was helping people get off of smoking, one of the things that really worked for a lot of people was a coffee flavored e-liquid, and it was because it mimicked that coffee and cigarette situation in the morning. So it was an easy transition for them to be able to do that, because it still had some of that bitterness, like they were expecting something to taste bad, and then they kind of progressed out of that. But also, I was going to bring this to Vandal, because I know that he worked at a place that actually sold liquid. One of the most frustrating things, at least here in the States, is that someone will give you a bottle of e-liquid and the name of it will be like 5 racks, and it will have no description of what it's supposed to taste like, what the flavors are inside. That is the most infuriating thing that a vape company can do, is just put this random name on something and be like, the guess is up to you. No one is going to buy that liquid if they don't have any idea what it's supposed to taste like.
It's one thing to have a funky name, but at least provide a profile somewhere on the bottle or in the literature. You actually made me think of something, and I hadn't thought of this before. You mentioned coffee being a viable flavor for people quitting because of that connection. Now, there's a ton of people for whom smoking and coffee are a connection, and I was one of them. I would smoke without coffee. I would coffee without smoke, but generally speaking, if I had the chance, I would do both at the same time. It's coffee and a cigarette. In the morning, at night, for lunch, break time, I'd rush out, grab a coffee, around the back, have a smoke. So those are integrally tied. So it would make sense that if you're going to quit and you want to sort of maintain those habits, this is why this works. We've got the hand to mouth, we've got the inhale, we've got all these smoking habits that we're trying to slightly alter but replicate at the same time. Fruit Loops. It's probably going to be a bad choice for that person, because Fruit Loops and coffee are not going to be a great mix. Tangerine and menthol and coffee aren't going to pair well together. So if someone is a coffee drinker and they're smoking habits are tied to doing the same together, then yeah, you want to push them towards the donuts, the pastries. This may be actually why my profile for so long was donuts and pastries and coffees and things that would go well with coffee, because I habitually grab my vape, I grab my coffee. I mean, I have a whole show every week based on sitting here drinking coffee and having a vape. So maybe that's...
It was, I would say, probably at least 50% of the people that I helped quit that were over the age of, say, 25. That was where we started them. And normally what I would do is find a coffee flavor that they liked, and then also find a fruit flavor that they liked. And the reason I did this was because maybe you don't want that coffee flavor at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, you want to try something that's a little fresher. So it gave them the option of being able to switch to see, okay, can I live with this? Because some people can't just do, like you said, they can't do a strawberry mango first thing in the morning. Like, it's just too much. They're like, I'm not ready for all that sweetness and all of that, you know, Kool-Aid kind of flavor. I want something that's a little richer and maybe a little bitter. And it's worked out amazingly. And I was surprised that the pod companies didn't fall in line with that. Like, I personally have never seen a coffee flavored pod, like a disposable.
Yeah, that is like weird.
I've seen them and they taste like crap. Coffee pods taste like crap. You know,
I hate pods. I hate disposable pods. Like, I'm not saying that I want that.
Coffee pods, at least the few that I've tried working when I was working in the industry, they came in and they tasted like, you know how you get that taste of like coffee at the bottom of like a Starbucks you have ice in, and it's like watery and kind of just like more rindy tasting. That's what every coffee pod I've ever had tasted like. I would not.
See, I don't drink coffee. I never have. I just don't like the taste of coffee.
We've talked about so much of him, we never even got to talk about Shake and Bake Media. And I have like literally 5 minutes before I have another appointment. This is bullshit.
Wow, have we really been that long? Holy crap, that was quick.
Yeah.
I felt like I was climbing over the advocacy part because you guys do a really good job of that. And I'm like, shit, Anthony, shut up and let them get to what they need to get to.
No. Anthony, give us a quick situation of Shake and Bake and
the
what's
quick
happening
1 minute commercial here.
And your time starts.
Now, all right. Shake and Bake Media is kind of an inclusive media company for the smaller businesses. What we're trying to do is we got tired of getting shut down by media companies because of the things that we sold, CBD, vape liquid, things like that. And we never got good advertising because of it. So we were like, you know what? I'm done with that. We're going to start up our own thing. We did a lot of stuff ourselves. And what has happened is people like our design style, and they like that they can get really nice custom work done from a company who personally doesn't care if you sell dildos. I will make you packaging for it. Like, I don't care what you sell. If it's legal and that's your business, you deserve just as much advertising as the next. So we make tons of CBD labels, but we do so much more than that. One of our big things is doing these short videos that we call stings. So if you have a company and let's say you want to advertise on YouTube, and what's the worst thing about advertising on YouTube is being able to skip that advertisement. Well, our stings only last like 10 seconds. So there's not that time in there. We're going to give you all the information with, a bunch of cool special effects, some neat music that goes along with it, something that someone will notice and remember because it was cool, and they'll get that information quickly, and then you don't have to worry about waiting until 15 or 20 seconds into the commercial to get the information that you want. It's very fast. It's exciting. And I think this is where advertising is going. Like this generation is not good with patience. Like, they just don't want to sit and watch anything. So it's just like, hit you in the face as fast as I can. Let's get you to the website. Once you're there, then we can educate you a little bit more.
Are you worried that eventually your viewers' heads might explode?
If they do, I'll just put somebody else's face on them. So that's just what I do.
And if you can tell me where that is a reference to, I will be highly impressed.
Kids are able to handle a lot of stuff these days, and fast and furious advertising.
And it's weird because, being a little older, and it's nice to have a couple older guys on here. I mean, Vandal's a young guy on this crew. But being able to see how that's progressed, you see YouTube channels that should not have 500,000 subscribers, but they do. And it's just because this is what interests people, and getting out of that mindset. The thing that we have that no one else has is 40 plus years in the retail business. Like, we know customers. Like, we know what questions they ask when they come in. We know what packaging brings them back. And that's probably been the biggest part of our success. And a lot of it's just been word of mouth. Our website is now officially live, and it took us almost a year to get it done because we just couldn't find the time. So it's just shakeandbakemedia.com. It's just our name with the .com after it, which I was so glad we were able to get that URL. And our prices are really inexpensive. And I'm not going to promote a bunch of that, but like those video stings I was talking about, if you got a business name and a website, $199, bam, you got an advertisement.
Awesome.
And if you guys know about advertising, that is dirt cheap for the kind of work that we do. But we want people that are in industries, like I said, that just can't get really good advertising to have access to that. If you need labels and you want a nice looking label, something that's going to get noticed on the shelf, because perception is the number one thing.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. When somebody looks at a label of a product, they are making assumptions about that product right away, regardless if they're true or not. That label makes all the difference. And if you got a generic label, chances are they're going to move on to somebody else who spent a little extra money to get a nice label. And that's just where our business is built on.
Yeah, indeed. Well, freaking awesome. I mean, I'm sure most of the people in this chat have probably seen your work on Instagram with
that's
all the
just
things,
fun
so.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's not really what I do. Like I said, I always tell people that because that's like, we got some downtime. I'm feeling creative. Let me throw somebody's face on something. I mean, that's really what that is. I'm glad people enjoy it. It makes them laugh. And, I'm happy to be that clown if that's what's needed.
Yeah. Oh, it's freaking awesome. And, absolutely.
And thank you guys so much for letting me come on. I really enjoyed this. It's like I'd want to spend 2 more hours with you, just hanging out. And
I feel like we could talk for all that long. Absolutely, fellas. What's coming up? What's everyone got going on this week?
Same old same.
Same old same.
Same old same. Streams, reviews,
Awesome.
more streams.
And
this week we might take a break on the Fiery Fallout. I don't know what's going on yet. I might have some plans, but otherwise, you guys will know from Instagram. And since he's too nice to do it, make sure you guys check Breestone's Coils, localvape.com. They were gracious enough to give us the code Amigos20, and you can take 20% off your whole order. Not just Breestones, but you probably should get some. And we don't get kickbacks. That's just for you guys that watch us. Thank you for hanging out. And otherwise, that's all I got. Adam, write us out this bitch.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. But we should make a part 2 to this at some point. Absolutely, and continue on the arguments, and the full-on fisticuffs over cotton. Everyone, have an amazing week. It's an exciting week coming up. This weekend is You Don't Know Nicotine, and you can still buy your what are they calling it? A pre-show? I'm not even sure what the correct terminology
Digital
is.
copy.
Yep, there's still days left for that, so make sure, because this weekend is going to be a big one for everyone, health professionals. We're looking at you. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. We freaking love you all, and have an amazing week. See you next time.